Welcome back to the Workbench, where uncut and unedited, you can watch me, a guy, try to make things. And what we're making right now is Accurate Miniatures McLaren M8B Can-Am car. Now, this kit we've been working on for a while. We just finished up with step 21, and now that actually brings us into step 22, which is body panels. And if you go and check the playlist down below, if you need to get caught up, and you'll see that we had kind of skipped over the doors themselves before, because I think what we're going to do, and we've talked about this, and actually I don't think we're going to do this, this is what we're going to do. It's kind of like what they've got here on the box with the bodywork dismounted, not mounted, just kind of, and we might do some kind of display for the bodywork as far as stands for them to sit on. But I don't want to put the bodywork on because we've done all this work here. And I mean, literally, like if I put this, it hides. If I put the bodywork on, you can see it starts hiding everything. If I put the front end on, it starts hiding all the stuff we've been working on. I don't really want to do that, so I'd rather mount them off to the side. But with that said, I did start the bodywork. So I brought the doors over from the previous steps and episode, and I've started painting them orange. So that's basically all I've got done so far. Is a coat of orange. The orange is going to need a little bit of work. It's a little bit rough, so it needs some sanding and whatnot. We also are going to have to, let me bring the box back and I can show you. We're also going to have to do some white painting. Here, let's look at the one that's assembled. You can see we've got the, I don't know, lightning bolt kind of deal, and then there's white paint that needs to go to the doors and that back hatch. So we're going to have to work on that. As I work on that, I'll bring you in to show you how I'm going to do those kind of things. And then I'll actually do the painting in between episodes. So what I think we're going to do is actually, here's step 22 so far. In fact, let me also show you, I've got all the black pieces that mount up under the bodywork. That's already, those are already painted. They're here in the monkey head so I don't lose them. I got to paint the back sides of all this is going to be flat black. But I'm going to do all that off camera in between episodes. So what I think we'll do today, well, what I'll do first is move this bodywork out of the way so I don't mess it up. I think we're going to skip right ahead on over here to step 23, which is wheels and tires. And I've already painted everything in between episodes. So now what we need to do is just put the wheels together. And I thought we'd do that together. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's start. So this is the back wheels. I can see that that's the fat ones here. Oh, I do want to show too, I went ahead and painted the Goodyears in here. Basically, these letters are recessed. They're basically little divots, the letters are. So you can just drop some white paint in there and then you just kind of rub it off and it cleans right off, and then you got a nice little lettering. But so let's go ahead. I guess I'll start with the fat ones, which get on the back side of these guys here, and on the front side are the thicker ones. So it's these guys here. And what there is there's a little notch. Let me use this. There's a little keyway, I guess you could say, right there. In fact, there's two of them. One for this keyway, or the key, I guess you would say here, and then one for the valve stem. And the valve stem goes in between spokes, and then that other keyway goes on the spoke. So when we put these together, we've got to make sure and get those to line up so that it fits nice and snugly together like that. And that's what the wheel is going to look like. But now we need to do that inside of the tire. So I guess what we'll do, how do I want to orient? I guess we can do it like they have it. I'm trying to think how I want to orient the tire on the wheel. And I think I'll put this valve stem coming out basically the way they have it is that the valve stem centered up on the flying foot of the Goodyear logo. So I'll try to do that as best I can, which would be right like this. So I think we can just kind of shove that in there, hopefully. It's a tight fit. I think that is seated all the way. And then I want to touch a little bit of glue in there. I'm going to use our Tamiya cement. Let me make sure. I guess that, yeah, it looks like it's seated all right. And I definitely want to add glue in that keyway, and then I guess we can just kind of add some glue. I just basically don't want to get it on the face of, I don't want to get any glue on the face of the wheel, which is kind of interesting. I'm used to the face of the wheel actually being on this side, but it's actually on the back side because these wheels are so deep dished. Okay, so let's line, I can line the valve stem up with that notch there, which should line up the other keyway thing. Get in there. And then hopefully it'll sit all the way. The main thing I wanted to do is to sit nice and snug in there. I don't want any of the bead or the wheel protruding out past the tire. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, I think that went in pretty decently. All right, so now we just do that 3 more times, I suppose. So what's the next? I want to make sure I do it correctly. So yeah, this one, the one with the thicker. Yeah, the one with the thicker. Okay, I'll make sure I did this right. Yeah, so these go up for the fronts, and then this goes here. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna try to line the valve stem notch up with the foot, the flying foot, and the Goodyear. Kills your fingers pushing on this. There's a little bit, I think a little bit of this paint's coming off my hands. I probably should have washed my hands. Got a little silver paint on the tire, but that's okay because we're going to actually wear these tires down a little bit. I don't want it on the face of the tire though. I'm kind of making a mess of this. Where's a rag? I guess I could be wearing gloves. That could help, I suppose. I don't know. Okay, let's get some glue in there kind of in the same way. Just going to touch these little keyways here. Again, I just want to keep it off of, I want to keep the glue, that is, off of the face of the wheel. I think is all that really matters. There we go. Like so. And then let's make sure our valve stem's lined up there and try to push it straight back in there and hit that notch. Yeah, I think we got it. Okay. Okay, yeah. That looks all right. They look kind of cool. I like the way the face of the wheel is on the back. It really does give it depth. Appearance of depth. That's really neat. Okay, so let's see if we can do these front wheels, which I think I painted the correct side. So we have, there's a ridge in here, by the way, that these things are sitting against. It looks like, I mean, obviously the narrow side of that ridge is this on this side. So that's why I lettered this side of the tire. These were I was a little worried about, but I think that ridge was right down the middle, so it didn't matter. Okay, so let's start with the backs again. It's the same arrangement. We got the we got the notch for the valve stem and a little keyway there on this lined up with one of the spokes of the wheel. Okay, you go ahead and go in there. Yeah, these are all, it's all back spacing on these. So the rear tires have a good bit of back and front spacing. This one is just back spacing. So the front kind of sits shallow. So I probably need to be a little bit more careful with the glue. I really don't want this on the face. I always worry about goofing things up with glue, but we also don't have like it doesn't have the friction, as much friction of the tire itself to hold it in. So the glue is a little more important on these front tires, I feel. Okay, pop in there. Okay, yeah, that looks okay. You can see a little bit. The only thing I don't like, I know you guys probably can't see it, but you can actually see just a touch of that keyway I was talking about right there. Might be able to touch in some paint there. Fix that up. That looks, otherwise, yeah, that looks pretty good. Those look pretty good. All right. I was a little worried that they weren't actually gonna look too good. Okay, last one. Let's get it done. Where's my other tire? Oh, here it is. All right, same thing. And lined up with the foot of the logo. Kind of missed it, but that's okay. Can I turn it? Not really. That's all right. glue. Okay, and then just a couple spots here where they come together, like so. Okay, that should be good. And then line up the valve stem. Let's push it in. Here we go. I hadn't even heard that one pop in. Oh boy, I don't think these front wheels were dry. I just really smudged some silver paint. It's all right though. Still looks good. I think that looks pretty good. Cool. Let's set the front wheels aside. I actually just painted the front wheel, or the front outer parts, not too long ago. I thought it was long enough ago that they'd be dry, but apparently not. Now what we need to do, I don't know if you guys can see, let me lift this up a little bit. We've got wheel nuts to put on, which I've already painted them steel. Let me actually read. Is there something, where's F113? It says, carefully remove the small tabs on the wheel sides. Yeah, I did that. The wheel nuts are now glued onto the wheels. This may best be accomplished by centering the nuts on the wheel by using a toothpick or a paintbrush handle to center the nut, allow to dry. That's a good idea. I wish I had, some toothpicks. Whoops, we're setting those aside. Let's do the back ones first. What do I have? Well, I think what I'm going to do, what will fit? I think one of the paintbrushes would work. Yeah, because it tapers down in there, kind of like a step bit. Let me show you. Yeah, so I think I could glue it in place and then just use this to line it up, and then hopefully pull it out. I think I'll probably be able to pull it out and then do the next one. I think that'll work. And again, I just want to put just enough glue down here to get it to stick. Where is my... Here it is. Let me put one down here. Well, come on, get off the... Why is it sticking? Okay. There we go. And then let's try to use the paintbrush. Okay, so all it's doing is sticking to the paintbrush. I'm just going to eyeball it. Yeah, let's just eyeball it. I do want it centered because I don't know. I think the spindles, the axles and whatnot have to, kind of fit in here. So I do want to center those. But yeah, we can do it. That looks good. Okay, we can just do it via the old eyeball method. Let me do the same thing again, not too much glue. A little bit more. Like so. All right. Let's grab one, set you in place, and then, can you guys see? Yeah. I'm just going to move it. There's like lines. There's lines that go on each one of the 4 spokes, this way, that way, it's to use where I can really judge that it's spaced equally all the way around, if that makes sense. Really helps me to just eyeball it. All right, let's do this guy, which these should actually be even, it should probably be a little easier just because we're not having to look down as deep in there. Now, what's interesting is this hole, I don't know if you guys can see it, but by the molding and where this hole is drilled is off center. So I'm going to center the nut, I guess. Like there's way more space. There's way more space over here than over here. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's going to cause a problem when it comes time to mount the wheels. I'm going to center it up where it's the wheel nut where it needs to be, because otherwise it's going to look really funny. Center it up on the wheel like so. Set that one aside. All right, one more, and we'll have the wheels on. Yeah, this one's a little off center too, to be honest. Yeah, it's more space. This one has more space on this. In other words, the hole is drilled too far that way. At least as far as the mold lines, the the kind of detail molded lines on the wheel. As far as they're concerned, it is. Okay, let's get, not even getting glue on here. Okay, that should have it. Whoops. And last one. Okay, you sit right there, and that's, needs to get scooted. That looks pretty close, I think. Maybe a little. Right there. Okay. In fact, let me set those off of the instructions here out of the way. And we're going to flip to the next page, which I believe the next thing is literally just putting the wheels on. But I want to, I don't think I want to, well, I don't know. Do I want to kind of scuff these up some? It generally helps the appearance of the tire, especially where they have these kind of molding stuff. I don't want to do it right now because they're wet. I need to fix this O. You can see where the O came. Needs a little paint. In fact, I can show you real quick how easy that is to do. Let me just grab some white paint. Excuse me. All right. I'll show you real quick how easy it is. Now I don't want to get it. I don't want to get the white paint on the wheel now. So that adds a little extra. So basically, just get a little white paint, and you can, try to fill in. Wow, that was really bad, but try to fill in the letter as best you can, and then just wipe it away. Let me get this other O. The bottom of this other O is a little, and I think it probably just happened while we were putting the wheel in, I guess. Kind of do that number, and then before, relatively quickly, just wipe it away, and then there you got your Goodyear. Looks a lot better. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I want to take a little sandpaper and scuff these tires. I think what we'll do, because I kind of like them looking fresh and new, like sticker tires, as they would say in racing. And I'm a little, I don't want to sand them right now because everything's kind of wet. I kind of don't want to install them either. So what I think we're going to do, I'm going to set these to the side. Well, you know what? Let's just take a quick look at how they're going to fit on here if we can. I don't want to mess them up because basically they just install. Yeah, they're just going to go. I want to see. Now this isn't pushed all the way on where they need to be. I wanted to see how far off. Yeah, see, this needs to come back a little bit, which I think it will. Yeah, I think it will. Remember I was worried about this back end being this side being a little crooked, which I think it is just a little bit. It looks like I can move it back. Yeah, I can get it to where it needs to be though. It's gonna look good. So there's what our back end's gonna look like. I'm gonna let these glue up though. I don't want to goof them up. Let's see if we can just kind of slide a front one on. Are they gonna fit? Yeah, they're gonna fit just fine. It looks like so. Oh, and I see I'm goofing it up. I'm already knocking the wheel nuts off. Shouldn't do that. Let's let them dry up. Let them glue up first. But we kind of got to look at what it's gonna look like with the wheels in place. So what I think I'll do in between episodes, I'll probably give a light sanding. I don't want to do too much, but I'm gonna give a little light scuff to the treads, just because these were mounted on a tree, and they've got little they've got these little nubs from where you cut them off the tree. I'd like to at least get down enough to kind of hide that. But I don't want to do it right now while everything's, you can see I already, just goofing around with it. I kind of knocked a wheel nut loose. So I'll let this dry up. I'll do that in between episodes. I'm also going to continue, make sure I don't have paint in my hands. I'm also going to continue working on the bodywork. So like I was mentioning before, we've got we have lightning bolts that go across here. I need to add some paint here. That's light, yeah. So I'm gonna have to flip these over, give some more orange. But also, there's gonna be the lightning bolts that go across the. How do these go? This way, I think. Yeah, they go here. They go across the door in the rear, the rear engine cover, I guess it is. So we've got to actually paint that white in there. So I'll show you how. I've got an idea how we're going to do that. We'll do that part together as far as getting the masking done. I'll paint them all in between episodes because my booth is outside in the garage. But we'll do that together. And then also when we come back tomorrow, I'm going to have everything prepped for step 25, which is the seat/belts. So we'll start building our seat belts and our seat, because this has a whole, here we are, a whole seat form and seat that goes in, which I hate because it's going to hide all our stuff there, but we need to get that done. So anyways, in between episodes, or look for the short in the morning. The YouTube short will have the wheels finished and put on, and you'll be able to see that in the YouTube short tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow we'll get, like I said, continue working on the body and start with the seat and the seat belts. In fact, I think I'll prep all the way through step 26. Maybe we can actually get the seat installed. I don't know. We'll see how much time we have. But thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Leave me those comments down below. Thanks, you guys that have been commenting. There's been some good comments that are very helpful. There was one comment about the history. I should go back and dig that up so I can tell everybody the history of the artist that did this art, which is kind of the best part of this kit is the art itself. I'll go back to that comment and see if I can find that, and so I don't remember off the top of my head the guy's name and everything, but I'll share that with you guys. But anyways, thank you for those comments. I love reading and seeing the comments and chit-chatting with you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up with these builds. Hit the bell button so you'll be notified when these do come out. Always look for them at 4 o'clock every day. It's going to be an uncut, unedited building, the good, bad, and the ugly. If you watch the whole series, you know there's been good, bad, and ugly. But thank you for joining me. Do all those things you do on YouTube, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.